Welcome to Answers in First Enoch, Episode 9. Now we get there. Time to find the Garden of Eden. Let's not waste time and get right to it. Per Enoch's directions. Let's go. Again, a reminder, just real quick, we've launched the first book of Enoch in color and even hardcover with color interior on Amazon overseas. We can't offer that in the Philippines at this point, but much of the world can access Amazon. The black and white is still there too, and no, none of them are $2.99, which is less than it costs to print. Duh, idiot blogger. Just go to firstenoch.org for all the links. Thank you again for everyone who has purchased books and also those who have downloaded the ebook and are following along. We're just happy you all are still here. As we know, the channel and our videos, well, they're just not always easy to find, and YouTube fails to notify most of our viewers, nor even place these in streams much of the time. Yet, we're still here. And they will answer for that as well. Thank you all for your support in these books and watching our videos, and all of your encouraging comments and all the different ways that you've communicated with us. We just love you all so much. Let's get started. Now, we left off at the Great Indian Desert, the second desert to the east, and we have now entered the Orient. Sorry, but Africa, Saudi Arabia, Mesopotamia, they're all out, and India is about to be as well. We begin with Enoch inside the earth. He exited at the North Pole at the true Mount Zion. Again, you want to insert Israel there, that's fine. It does not change these directions from there forward. So it really doesn't matter if you want to do that. It's not right. We've proven that already, but it's okay. You can do that. Then he goes to Mount Sinai, and now the Garden of Eden and the Mount of the East, basically the three, or you can count four, holy places of Yahuwah. Again, the last two are the same place. Thus 3, 4, doesn't matter, same thing. Now we're going to switch back to Enoch's true cosmological perspective. The other map we had was from Adobe stock, and this is the only kind they had. They didn't do it on flat Earth, so we didn't try to recreate that. We just used what we had that was nice and professional and easy to use. Where the surface of the Earth is a flat, round disk with the underworld beneath, foundations, pillars, whatever you wish to refer to them as. They're all there. Beneath the earth, just as the whole of Scripture has always represented. And I mean always. Yes, this is the circle of which Isaiah spoke, as Isaiah knew a ball was not a circle, and uses such word, because he means a two-dimensional circle. Just as he said, he knew the difference. So by any logical assessment, there's no way to make a ball fit in that context. Throughout this series, you will find Enoch affirming and entrenching this cosmology, so there's no debating it, and one will never understand him trying to fraudulently insert a ball, an oblate spheroid, or even what they're now calling, the latest version, basically a pear shape. Okay. Well, that's fine if the Earth is pear-shaped. That wouldn't bother me. I'd be fine with that. Except they've been showing pictures of a blue marble since the 60s, and they continue to every year and many times. I mean, I don't understand why they continue to show us a ball, a perfect ball, and call it an oblate spheroid when I was in school, and now they call it a pear shape. I mean, what kind of dumb are they? It's very simple. Supposedly science has a telescope, in fact, satellites, and has even orbited the Earth in space shuttles in recent years. Therefore, they would easily be able to provide proof if they had it, wouldn't they? Yet, where is the picture of the pear? It's not there. Not even a CGI image of that one. Not of a pear. Well, there isn't one, and they prove themselves to be liars, especially changing the shape of the Earth 3 times in the last 60 years. How about that? Who is the idiot here? Who are the ones playing stupid? Well, you can't figure out what the Earth looks like, yet you supposedly saw it from the moon? Hello, did you? Because it doesn't sound like you did. Anyway, let's move on. Open your book of 1st Enoch to chapter 30. This is going to be awesome. Verse 1. And beyond these, beyond the mountains in the great Indian desert, that's where we are, I went afar to the east. So he's still heading east in directions, which means he's going to pass India, folks, and that's out now too. And I saw another place, a valley full of water. Now, what could that be? It will become very obvious when we get to the map. Verse 2. And therein there was a tree, the color of fragrant trees, such as the mastic. Now, the mastic's a very well-known tree, and it is known in India. They have a mastic tree that they call Dahmer. Verse 3. And on the sides of those valleys I saw fragrant cinnamon. Ding, 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 ding. This is a huge clue as to where we are. You'll see. And beyond these, I have proceeded to the east. So he's going to go even further east beyond this. But let's deal with the cinnamon, the land of cinnamon first. Okay, so let's find the famous area for cinnamon heading east from the great Indian desert, which also happens to be next to what would be a valley of water or a basin on the bottom of the ocean floor. We would call a bay today, perhaps because the New World Ocean has encompassed it. But before the flood, likely a shallow valley, just as it says. Very fascinating. Sri Lanka, a large island on the east side of India, fitting the directions, just so happens to be known as Cinnamon Island, in fact. Well, that's according to National Geographic, that is, not us. Many likely already know this if you are aware of history, even to the age of exploration especially. The world was crazy for Ceylon, or now called Sri Lanka, for their cinnamon. It was world famous and remains, really. Even Wikipedia identifies the true cinnamon, which is the literal Latin words for the Sri Lankan cinnamon, which is named such as originating natively from India. So we still could be in East India here. It's possible. Sri Lanka, Bangladesh. So we could have passed India a little to Bangladesh, but you're not far. It's the same region. And Myanmar, which is all pretty much the same area. But that's a pretty narrow region. So we know basically where we are here. We believe, again, this narrows it down, and really Sri Lanka is the better fit. If not, we're on the coast of Bangladesh or Myanmar or East India in either event, and we're overlooking, we'll show you. Either way, we have advanced to the east, farther east, passing India now. Thus, India is not the Garden of Eden, and nothing to the west of India could possibly be the Garden of Eden either. Something of note in Wikipedia, in ancient Egypt, and this is really very fascinating, cinnamon was used to embalm mummies, along with other spices, of course. But here's the point. If they used it, and cinnamon does not grow natively in Egypt and Africa, and it doesn't, then that means they were traveling or somehow trading, even across land, doesn't really matter, but far more likely by boat in ancient times to this corridor. This region of eastern India, Sri Lanka, or Myanmar or Bangladesh. And guess what? That's exactly what the ancient map of Ptolemy, the Egyptian, identifies. Because he ends the Indian Ocean and really the whole east of the earth. He doesn't know anything beyond Burma. He stops at Burma. He actually doesn't even identify the Malay Peninsula. He doesn't. It's just not there. That's Burma that you see hanging down there, which many scholars, many scholars, especially British, have done a ridiculously poor job of committing propaganda on that one. There's whole books out there. The Golden Chersonesus being the Malay Peninsula. The guy's stupid. He's not a scholar. He can't read a map, not even a simple map, because Burma is the end of Ptolemy's mapping. So, speaking of, let's go to our map and check this out. Now again, Enoch gave us markers here. The mastic resin from India is in the top left, called Dahmer by the Indians. So you have a picture of it there, so you have an idea. The valley full of water here is the Bay of Bengal, which before the flood, which is when Enoch writes here, was likely a valley of shallow water indeed. Makes sense. There was no ocean yet, and watch our Rivers from Eden series for more on that and our full position. Don't watch and, well, just don't comment on that. That's okay. You don't have to, but don't try to debate in ignorance. Our channel, our rules. You will be muted if you try. Maybe some of their fathers did not provide discipline, and they think they can do whatever they want. Not on this channel. We have rules, and you'll follow them. And there you have the famous Isle of Cinnamon, Sri Lanka, or formerly Ceylon. From there, or anywhere in this region, where true cinnamon, the actual literal Latin name, the original cinnamon grows here. So you would be able to overlook this valley of water from the coast of either of those areas. But again, very specific to where we are. We know where we are roughly in region, if nothing else. And now Enoch says he proceeds even further to the east. So we'll continue. Thus, again, sorry, India, you are out. You are not the Garden of Eden. Nope. To Africa, long ago. No. To Saudi Arabia, nor Israel. Can't work, and most certainly, definitively, no way to Mesopotamia, the birthplace of the occult. No, thank you. Back to 1 Enoch, and this is good. Extreme detail. No one who can read these directions, nor see them on a map, could really possibly err. This is not difficult stuff. 1 Enoch 31. And I saw other mountains, and amongst them were groves of trees, and there flowed forth from them nectar, which is named Sarara and Galbanum. Spices! Where might we be? East of India, crossing the Bay of Bengal, and we are in the area known for spices. Imagine that. Pretty easy. And beyond these mountains, I saw another mountain to the east of the ends of the earth, whereon were aloe trees. So now we have aloe. Yes, aloe is native to the Far East, indisputably. And, well, you know, I know if you look it up, there's a dunce out there calling themselves a scholar or academic, even a PhD, I believe, who actually claimed that because Egypt was the first to draw the plant, that somehow that means they are the origin of aloe on all of Earth. Well, have you ever heard anything so stupid? That's not logic, and another, paradigm of stupid that he's setting forth from those who supposedly are smarter, yet incapable of logic. No thank you. And all the trees were full of stacked. Now that's another biblical spice. Spices, 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 and spices. Where might we be? And here we go again with the pili tree identified yet another time. We covered that last video, so you can watch that. Check it out if you haven't. Being like almond trees. Now that's the pili nut, basically, which is like an almond. It's just a larger almond, and actually far more nutritious, a much better, much healthier nut than an almond for that matter. But verse 3, and when one burnt it, it smelt sweeter than any fragrant odor. Now that's frankincense, which really is labona in Hebrew, not that French word that didn't exist in Bible times. And it comes from the pili tree, very clearly, which has the nut and the incense, which is considered the best incense, really. So, now, what mountains? This is before the flood, so what does that mean? Well, today we call those islands, because we now have a world ocean. So, perhaps now we are east of India, and let's see, we are at a place known for spices, islands, spice islands. Oh, it's just so hard. I don't know. What could it be? Yeah, we all know. It's too easy. We are now taken to the Spice Islands of the East Indies by Enoch. Pretty easy one, not hard to figure out, right? We were in Sri Lanka, or at least no further than Myanmar, by the habitat of true cinnamon, and headed east to the Spice Islands. That's where we are. The East Indies of Malaysia and Indonesia. Wow. Anybody notice what we're getting close to here? How about that? Yeah, we're getting pretty far east now. But wait till you see these next directions. Here we go. Hold on to your seats. Chapter 32. We are in the East Indies, at the eastern side of the Indian Ocean, exiting the Indian Ocean now. And there is no disputing that that's where we are. And now here we go to the northeast. I beheld 7 mountains full of choice nard and mastic and cinnamon and pepper. Now, we're going to put together these 7 mountains from this perspective, with the same from the inner earth where Enoch saw the 7 mountains of Eden. These are as well, you will see. He'll be very clear, don't worry. In a couple of videos, we're going to finish this first, but in a couple of videos, we're going to go there. We're going to identify the 7 mountains of Eden, and then we're actually going to take the Archangel Michael's words and show you that there are 9 mountains of the east, and we're going to show you how they also fit in. In a couple of videos, we'll do that. So wait till you see how well this matches exactly what Enoch describes. I mean, this is incredible. But all these spices that he mentions here are native to the Philippines, specifically the area of Visayas. Wow. I mean, that is exactly northeast of the eastern exit from the Indian Ocean, where the East Indies are. There you go. This is precise. It cannot be mistaken. It is exact. Cebu cinnamon, by the way, is native to the Philippines and always has been. The Spanish mentioned it when they came. They don't call it Cebu cinnamon, but they call it cinnamon, and they found cinnamon in multiple islands, and they noted it. We're not going to go through all that history here today because we have in Solomon's Gold series, so check out that series. Pepper trees were also noted several times. Even on maps, sometimes they'll list the resources like that, and cinnamon and pepper trees are there. So the Spanish well recorded that was the case, and they were in Visayas when they mentioned these things, when Magellan came. So there you go. Nard or spikenard is native to the Philippines, and just like India, the Philippines too has a mastic resin, a tree called Manila copal. Now that's one of the most abundant trees in the Philippines, and well traded to this day, actually. Could Enoch be any more accurate here? I mean, this is amazing. Well, actually, yeah, because he's going to nail this down perfectly now. Watch this. Verse 2. And thence I went over the summits of all these mountains. What mountains? The 7 mountains of Eden. Those mountains. See, Enoch is being flown by angels. That's why you can see this big picture perspective, because he's pretty high above, looking down. He didn't need an airplane. How about that? And he was able to basically, become a drone and map out the earth in essence, at least parts of it. Far towards the east of the earth, we know that, and he's in the Philippines, and passed above the Erythraean Sea. That's the Indian Ocean. So he exited the Indian Ocean, and he already told us from the Indian Ocean he heads northeast. There's only one grouping of islands that fits that, and that is the Philippines. And went far from it and passed over the angel Zotiel. Now, who is he? Well, he's obviously a guardian cherub of the garden, because he's about to say he's there. And I came to the Garden of Righteousness. Yes, there it is. The Garden of Eden, which has always been known in location since before the flood. So if any scholar tells you they don't know where it is and no one can know, they just are ignorant of the facts, that's all. It has never truly been lost except in interpretation, and the propagating of a Pharisee Bible will do that because it ignores much scripture and changes the word. Enough of that. The Garden of Eden in the Philippines. What is Enoch seen? Well, the angel guards the east entrance somewhere in Visayas. He doesn't tell us where the entrance is, so don't try. In fact, Noah and Methuselah did go there. They didn't go in the garden, but Enoch came outside, that's what they say, and visited them outside of the garden. But they did go to the entrance, so they did know where it was. We don't. Now, we will show you references to in coming videos. But wow, I mean, just wow. Just as we have consistently stated over and over with mega facts for over 5 years now, the Garden of Eden is in the Philippines, or underneath it, within the earth, which has always been our position, and has never been proven wrong, nor will it be. Nuh-uh doesn't cut it. Ridicule is not disproof. This is proven, folks. Now back to our map. So we are in the Indies, Malaysia, and Indonesia, the Spice Islands previously. That's where we were before these directions. And now we head northeast from there. That's called the Philippines. To the mountains before the flood, or what we call islands today. It is the Philippines, folks. Nothing else is there, and there are no other options, period. Done. The end. When you exit the Indian Ocean at Malaysia and Indonesia and head northeast, that is only and can only be the Philippines. Anyone saying otherwise, well, they just plain can't read. Either they can't read directions, they can't read sentences, and they can't read a map. Well, that's their problem. We will cover these 7 mountains in a couple of videos too. Don't worry, we're going to get there. Then Enoch brilliantly affirms where he is, not only by resources all abundant to the Philippines, but yet another tree very easily identified. It is the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. What? Yep, Enoch tells us what variety of tree it is. Verse 3, and from afar off trees more numerous than these trees and great fruit trees there, very great, beautiful, and glorious, and magnificent, and the tree of knowledge, whose holy fruit they eat and know great wisdom. No, not the good wisdom. This wasn't the good tree. No, this was the forbidden fruit, the bad tree. So say what? We can actually know what tree variety the tree of knowledge was? Yes, we can. And indisputably so by Enoch's description. Check this out. Verse 4. That tree is in height like the fir. Now, we don't get much from that as a reference, as there's a massive range for fir trees in today's measure. So he may very well have been referring to something more specific, but we've lost that in that sense. But we don't need it, because the rest of this, he really nails this down. And its leaves are like those of the carob tree. Okay, so anyone saying, oh, well, maybe it could be too hot in the Philippines. Well, wait. That doesn't have the leaves of a carob tree. It doesn't have the bark of a carob tree. It doesn't look like a carob tree. So it doesn't work. It's already out. Plus, it doesn't have the legends of Lanzones, which we'll talk about. So leaves like a carob tree. This becomes very specific. We'll show you pictures. You can look at it for yourself. And its fruit is like the clusters of the vine. So like grapes. Only it grows on a tree. All right? So it's not really grapes. So, no, now, its fruit is not like a carob tree. It doesn't say that, and some have misconstrued that. Again, it's probably the psycho-stalking blogger that did it, but whomever. It basically is pretty simple and straightforward. The leaves are like a carob tree. The fruit is like, basically, grapes, but growing on a tree. Now, this is not real hard. This is the Lanzones tree of the Philippines. Who even has a specific variety native to it that's very sweet, in fact, especially Camiguin Island. Very beautiful, and the fragrance of the tree penetrates afar. Then I said, how beautiful is the tree, and how attractive is its look. The Lanzones are very fragrant, by the way. In fact, they dry their skin, and they'll then use it as incense as well. I don't know if you knew that, but there you go. Verse 6, Then Raphael, the holy angel who was with me, again, the archangel, we know who he is, answered me and said, This is the tree of wisdom. Which one's he talking about? He'll tell you. Of which thy father old in years. Not quite. Adam is from olden time. That's who this is, really. And thy aged mother, no, not really. It means ancient, meaning Eve, the most ancient mother. That's what it really means. Not a great translation there, but okay, it's close enough. Who were before thee have eaten, and they learnt wisdom, and their eyes were opened, and they knew that they were naked, and they were driven out of the garden. We all know who this story is. It's Adam and Eve. There's only one couple in history that could possibly fit this, so it's very obvious. Now, we cover this in great detail in our video, Forbidden Fruit. Watch it, and go ahead, try to debate over there if you think you can. You will not be able to. We prove things out, that's why. Not because we're so smart, but we prove things out, and we test them. We test even what we find, and you'll find our positions very strong. Look at the leaves and even the bark of the carob tree, and then look next to it, to the right, the Lanzones tree. And we have a match, folks. It is Lanzones that grow in clusters like grapes on a tree. Look at the bottom left photo. They even look exactly like grapes. That's pretty easy. There are other such fruits, yes, but they do not have legends such as Lanzones has, specifically found in the Philippines. First, the word Lanzone in Tagalog means poison, as in the tree of knowledge. Now that's interesting. But then in the very legends, it's okay to eat now, so don't worry. Lanzones are good to eat, no problem. It's no longer the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. Adam already ate from that tree, and he already fell. That's already done, long ago. And Lanzones are fine to eat. So don't worry about that. We're not downing Lanzones. I know some people love Lanzones. I know I do. I eat them every chance I get. But there are 3 such legends from ancient times passed down in the Philippines, in Laguna province, as well as Camiguin Island, especially. We cover them there as well as the Hebrew, which also ties in perfectly, and the whole story. And it is an awesome video. Watch that. But the fact is, this tree of the knowledge of good and evil is the Lanzones tree. And the fruit of that tree is Lanzones. Again, there's nothing wrong with the fruit today. So there we go, folks. The Garden of Eden, according to Enoch, is in the Philippines. It's underneath of it, but it's there in geography. Noah left exact directions which Moses put in the book of Jubilees, which concur as he received them from the angel of the presence at Mount Sinai. He places the garden in the Philippines as well, and a plethora. We have only covered a few, but in the next video, a plethora of historic maps demonstrate this over thousands of years. Did you hear what I said? Thousands of years. This is not a new finding. This is not a new legend. This is not some made-up whatever. This is fact, and it's fact over thousands of years. Yet, I don't know where the Garden of Eden is. Yeah, but I'm a scholar. Right. Good one. Like we believe you. Anyway, it's coming very quickly, the next video, right on the heels of this one, as we are anxious to get this out there. So the Garden of Eden can be found and has always been identified very firmly as the Philippines. It's not above the surface. It is within the earth. Did everybody hear that? Because we always get comments, the Philippines doesn't look like the Garden of Eden. It's in the earth, underneath of it, which we've said throughout this series, which we've said for 5 years now, very consistently. Now, Enoch has been extremely clear on this, especially. However, even the Hebrew word gan, interpreted garden, is garden indeed. It was a planting of a garden. There's no doubting that. But the word also means enclosure as one of its main definitions. The Garden of Eden is not just a garden, it is an enclosed garden, which is why the angels were only placed on the east side, where the entrance is in Visayas somewhere. Don't try to enter, though, even if you find it. The whole, flaming sword which turns in every direction is not something you wish to experience or encounter, whether alone the two terrible guardian angels there. No, we wouldn't recommend that, and we ain't gone there. So, but we can find it because Enoch knew where it was. He's kind of an expert because he lives there. Anyway, we're not allowed in until the day of judgment. And again, even Noah and Methuselah knew where it was, visited Enoch there, but outside of the entrance. The garden, by the way, is still there to this day. If you want to know information on that, we cover that in great detail in Is the Garden Still There? Watch it. Don't try to debate that here. You will not. You will find Enoch among men is the foremost expert on the Garden of Eden because, well, he still lives there, for one thing. And he saw it from inside the earth and from above, both, which is incredible. And again, we're going to explore that further as we go here. Watch, though, where did Enoch go? If you don't think he lives in the Garden of Eden, yeah, he does, and we prove it. Now, we hope everyone has picked up some very firm evidence here on locating the Garden of Eden. Enoch wasn't even vague in the slightest on this, and really neither was Noah, and the references still survive to this day. We feel sorry for modern scholars who remain illiterate on this and many topics. They don't have to, but so much needs to change in their thinking. We have over 400 videos on this channel, one for every day of the year now, many just as profound, with some 50 or so in Tagalog for Filipinos and now 6 in Spanish to start. We also have been setting up subtitles for 20-plus languages for most of our videos. Don't forget to like and subscribe and click the bell for notifications of new uploads. Even if you aren't notified, it still helps us. Maybe. We're still not sure because I'm not sure that anything can help YouTube notify people and put us in streams when they just plain don't. But anyway, join our email list as YouTube does fail to notify often, and we will notify you ourselves at thegodculture.com. Just fill in the pop-up there. We have alternative platforms for videos on Rumble, Odyssey, and Utreon if you wish. And our new podcast is also available for all of our videos as well. All links in the description box. And friend us on Facebook at The God Culture, _space original. If you prefer an alternative, we now have Parler, link below. That's a Facebook alternative, that is. We now have 6 books published internationally, being read in over 100 countries. With a new release available, the first book of Enoch, the oldest book in history. And now you know, because we've proven that out in the previous videos. We also have now launched Ophir Philippines Coffee Table Book in the US, Canada, UK, and many overseas markets on Amazon, and it is available in hardcover or softcover there. Additionally, we launched the Book of Jubilees, the Torah calendar, with color maps and interiors, many requested overseas. We have that in the Philippines already, but that too is available on Amazon in hardcover or softcover. And again, now the Book of Enoch, the first Book of Enoch, is also available in hardcover or softcover in Amazon in color, if you wish. The black and white is there for both of those as well still. All books, including Solomon's Treasure, are now free in eBook. Just go to ophirinstitute.com for all the links for your area for all of our books. More coming soon. Thank you for watching. Now, always remember, prove all things for yourself. Yah bless to everyone.